The Kuli'ou'ou Summit Trail stretches the entire length of the island of Oahu along the summit ridge of Kuli'ou'ou, an extinct supervolcano. Hiking it is known to be extremely difficult and dangerous, but some dedicated hikers make it a goal to complete the entire thing. For this hike, we did the southernmost section of the KST, starting from Makapu'u Lookout and hiking north 7 miles to the summit of Kuli'ou'ou Ridge Trail, which we then used to exit the KST and head back to civilization. All the other access points to the KST between those two are off limits, so it made the most sense to do this entire section in one long hike. Here's how that day went. The hike began at Makapu'u Lookout, where we immediately climbed high onto the ridge. We were overlooking Sea Life Park, where we could actually see dolphins swimming around in their enclosures far below. We continued along the ridge, carefully maneuvering over some sketchy terrain until we reached this natural hole in the rocks known as a puka. We stopped here for a quick break and to take lots of pictures before moving on. After traversing some narrow ridges and a really steep climb, we eventually reached this area, home to a famous landmark known as Dead Man's Catwalk, or at least where it used to be before it was removed. Maneuvering around the radio facility, we made a quick stop at this staircase overlooking the neighborhood of Hawaii Kai. Past the radio facility, we reached the hardest part of the hike, where we had to carefully make our way down into this saddle across steep and uneven terrain. Climbing back out of the saddle led to this beautiful panoramic overlook and the summit of Kuli'ou'ou Ridge Trail. At this point, we were constantly switching back and forth between narrow ridges and bushwhacking through tall grass until we reached the summit of Tom Tom Trail, where we stopped and had a quick lunch. After we finished eating, we continued on to the next section, which was in a beautiful forest, but it really dragged on for what felt like forever. Finally, we reached the summit of Mariner's Ridge Trail. After this point, the major landmarks on the trail seemed to move by fairly quickly, as soon we passed by Pyramid Rock and along the confusing section above Hahaione Valley. Then, there was only one more short section, which did have some really narrow spots. Until finally, after 8 grueling hours, we reached the summit of Kuli'ou'ou Ridge Trail. Exhausted, we stopped to take a break and admire the view before turning to head back down Kuli'ou'ou Ridge to where we had staged a car earlier that morning, ending a tough but amazing day in the mountains of Hawaii.